Welcome to Business Influencers. Hope everyone is having a great week. My name is Chris Salem, the host of Business Influencers. We want to thank you listeners each and every week for joining us here. The show would not be where it is today if it wasn't for you. We are committed each week in bringing subject matter experts, sharing their words of wisdom and insight to help scale your business and personal success to the next level. We appreciate your comments. Feel free to follow us at the TALRadio.org website or reach out to us at chris@christophersalem.com. We'd be happy to find out what's important to you, what types of content that you could utilize to help move your business and personal success to the next level. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types, an opportunity to rekindle old relationships or perhaps meet new people for the first time. It takes all the noise out of social media. There's no notifications, and it offers a membership program where you could have accessibility to affinity programs that will allow you to tap into resources that you would never be able to tap into on your own as a member of Alumni Direct. Feel free to check them out for more information at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we got a great show for you today, and we are going to be talking about extract the most out of your customer list. And we have today as our guest, Mostafa Hosseini, if I said it correctly. And Mostafa and I have a lot of similar backgrounds. We're both Middle Eastern, and I love that connection. And so with that being said, you're going to be talking to someone today that really has a lot of expertise and experience in this area and how you could really expand your business and knowing how to really pull out the most out of you can from your customer list. And without further ado, we welcome Mostafa to the show. Mostafa, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Chris. Thank you. Thanks for having me. And I really look forward to our conversation.
We're so glad to have you on. So let's start off a little bit about, your story and about your company. First of all, I didn't even give a background. I want to make sure we let people know a little bit about you first. And I should have done that. So, here's the thing about Mostafa. He is the founder of Persyo Incorporated, if I said that right. Persyo, is that correct?
Persyo, yes.
Persyo, and creator of the Simple Retention Formula, Simple Marketing Formula, and Simple Offer Formula. For the past 12 years, Mostafa has helped business owners and entrepreneurs build profitable businesses in various niche markets and industries. And his call center helps established businesses fix their follow-up problem and scale through referrals and customer retention without spending any money on ads. How great is that? Well, he lives in a beautiful area of Canada in the mountains, and he's an avid skier and hiker, and he loves to spend time with his family and friends. So, Mostafa, it is all yours. Let's learn a little bit about your story personally, and a little bit, what got you into, putting together Persyo and what you're doing there to really help business owners scale with their lists and so on, and how to, sell more business.
For sure. So I've been in the marketing world for the past 15 years or so, and went to school for marketing. And while I was in school, I started a marketing agency and ran the agency from 2010 to 2018. We did A to Z marketing for our clients, along with coaching and consulting them on their marketing and growing their business. And over the years, I learned about the power of customer retention and follow-ups from Dan Kennedy, and how it's so easy and it's like low-hanging fruit and nobody does it. And so the story is that every time I ran out of cash or customers, I would be worried about it for a few days. Then I would realize that I actually do have a list of customers and prospects that I could call. Then I would pick up the phone, make a round of calls, and on the day of or shortly after, I would get cash, appointments, referrals, introductions, you name it. And so then I started teaching this whole piece and everything that was working for us in a course called Simple Marketing Formula. And that came actually as a result of me reading the 80-20 Principle by Richard Koch, and I became a huge 80-20 fan. So I started sharing everything that actually did work for me and for my clients in Simple Marketing Formula, showing people how to create a simple marketing plan. Now, in a course, I was teaching how to find customers and the foundations and how to convert them. And the last piece was always retention, like how to find them, then how to keep them, have them come back, get recurring revenue, referrals, and the rest of it. Then during the course, I would share the script that was actually working for us. That was like, you know what, people, here's the script, here's the process. Take the script, call your list today, and you're going to see results today, starting today. And to my surprise, nobody would do it.
Wow.
I'm like, guys, this will actually work today. It actually works for us. But later on, I found out that, people were actually scared of picking up the phone. They actually hated picking up the phone. And so we kept doing that. And then later on, I had a guy who was making calls for us and he was looking for more work. And a few times during the course, I was like, hey guys, I have a guy who can make calls for you. He's looking for more work. Who wants an introduction? Everybody raises their hand. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. This happened a few times. Like, and I'm like, what if we do it for you? What if we manage this whole follow-up piece for you? Who wants us to do that? They're like, hell yeah, do it for me. So then we started a call center specializing in follow-ups and customer retention. And so that's the story.
Wow. I love it. Love it. So talk a little bit about, who do you serve in this capacity? People that are online, that are looking to use online as a more effective way to scale their businesses. And this is like, in the last 10 years, this has been the ideal time to do this moving forward. Who do you serve and what do you do for them now in what you're doing with them, around the simple retention formula, marketing formula, and offer formula?
For sure. So we work with established businesses that are doing north of $500,000 in sales. They're doing high 6 figures or 7 figures. They have a proven high ticket offer north of $5,000 or more. And they have a list of a few thousand people that are just sitting there collecting dust and they're being ignored. And so most of these people, they know that they should stay in touch with their list, but they don't have the time, the manpower, or the resources to do it. And like I said earlier, they hate to pick up the phone. Even their salespeople don't like picking up the phone. And so we're like, you know what? We're going to do the follow-ups for you so you could do what you do. Even for the salespeople, we're like, you know what? Why don't you focus on closing? Because we know we could break your arm and you still wouldn't follow up properly. So we're going to do the follow-up. You just stay there and, do the closing. And that's who we serve. We serve a lot of service-based businesses like coaches, consultants, and service companies. So
nice. Well, I love that. I mean, there are so many businesses that fall into that category. You have you could have your solopreneurs or even, maybe 10 employees or less that could be in that million or less range. And then you start getting in people into the 6-figure, 7-figure area. In that case, where obviously, there's a, significant amount. And what would you cite are the biggest problems you see business owners around finding these paying clients?
the biggest thing that we see is people are just not following up, right? They spend a lot of time and money to find prospects and customers, and they just start ignoring them. So in our world, you could pay anywhere from $50 to $500 per lead to bring them in, to have them say download a checklist or download it or get access to a lead magnet of some sort. And that $50 to $500 could be a combination of time, money, and other resources. So what I've seen over the past 15 years is businesses spend a lot of money to find that prospect, but when that person, does something and they opt in, the business doesn't follow up with them, right? They don't do it properly. And so they're leaving a lot of money on the table. And so the other problem that I see quite a bit is they have existing customers that are being ignored. So these are actual paying customers, right? I've gone through a lengthy and expensive process to find a customer. Customer comes in, and as long as they are paying, the business they're happy and they're okay. The moment the payment stops, that's when they pick up the phone and say, hey, looks like your credit card failed. And so that becomes a big problem. Not good customer service. So those are a couple of big problems that I see happening with a lot of businesses.
Got it. Yeah. So true. Follow up is king. And, some people say that, they know that, but this actually doing it is another story. And maybe if it's not something they're good at, this is where, again, leveraging your weaknesses to a resource like yourself, where it is a strength, can help them to focus on the things that they're actually good at, whatever that business may be for them.
For sure. Chris, if I may, I took me a long time to learn about this, and that is, I pick up the phone and call people naturally. I don't even think about it. That's
Yeah.
my preferred way of communication. Like some people prefer text or email or this and that. I'm like, I need to talk to you in 30 seconds and figure something out versus doing 12 emails back and forth.
Exactly.
And then when I was asking people, like, here's the script, use this to call your people and see results today, they wouldn't do it. And I'm like, I was puzzled for actually a few years. I'm like, why are these people not doing it? Turns out that they were scared and they were fearful and they actually hated doing it. But it was and I did not see that as a strength in me. Right. I was like, oh, I pick up the phone, right? I just do it naturally. And so, there was like, to your point, there actually was a business there that we found.
Nice. Well, I love that. I love how you were able to find a void, and that you've been able to help fill it. And I agree with you. I'm old fashioned. I always believed, talking to someone, because I feel that you could be more specific, clear, and concise when you are verbally talking to someone. Now, I understand there's different generation types, like Gen Z and millennials, that's like the text back and forth. But I think that, there's a lot of, things fall through the cracks. A lot of assumption and speculation can be, we can assume what we think they're looking for, what's important to them, and that may not be the case.
100%.
Yeah. So Mostafa, what are the top three places businesses leave money on the table that you see?
For sure. So I already touched on this, but
Yeah.
So the first place is your website. People, you spend a lot of money on your website. People visit your website and they leave. And what most businesses do is they don't follow them around. What you could do is you could follow them. You could use a Facebook pixel or the Google remarketing system to actually add them to your pixel list or to your remarketing or retargeting list and follow these people around and show them ads to bring them back. Let's say that I spend anywhere from $5 to $50 for a single click for someone that showed interest in my topic to visit my website. That's an expensive action, right? $5 to $50. So the thing about retargeting and remarketing through Pixel and the Google stuff is that it's a lot cheaper and less expensive now to follow them around. Now let's imagine that somebody visited my website, but they got distracted by something, by the phone. They thought about something else. They went on to Facebook and this and that. We lost them. Now we need to follow them around and bring them back, because this guy has shown interest to me that, yes, I'm interested. And there's a degree of qualification in there. So that's the first place. The second place is where they come in, they actually opt in, but we do nothing with that list. While we could actually call them up or email them or text them and say, hey, our system shows that you have downloaded a checklist to fix your follow-up problem. I'm just calling to talk about that. Is this a bad time to chat? Right? And they're like, yay or nay. Then I could say, look, are you still working on fixing your follow-up problem? And they may say your name. I'll take the conversation from there. And I could turn it into an appointment, get a referral from him, and whatnot. The third place is existing customers. I have a list of customers that I'm doing business with, but I'm not staying in touch with them. And most business owners assume that they're happy and okay. And the facts are far from that. So on average, you would lose between 64 to 68% of your customers if you don't stay in touch with them, because they perceive that you don't care about them. And quite frankly, if you do care about your customers, you would stay in touch with them. You don't want to assume that they're doing okay. You want to have and add that human touch and the human interaction to the mix, right? So those are three places where people leave a lot of money on the table. Can I share one more?
Sure, absolutely.
So you got a list of past customers, people that have done business with you and they're gone now. What you could do is you could easily, very easily pick up the phone, do a round of reactivation calls or emails, bring them right back, and or get referrals from them.
Yeah.
That's another place where businesses leave a 6, 7, 8, or 9 figures on the table, depending on the size of the business and what they sell.
I agree. I see that a lot in the medical field, especially in dentistry, and not asking when somebody has a great experience to ask for referral. People will be happy to refer somebody when they've had even if it was in the past, but not waiting too long, not waiting 2, 3, 4 years, but doing it in a short period of time, that when it's still fresh in their minds, that
100%.
experience they had.
Can I share one step? One is the best time to ask
Yes,
for a
please
referral?
do.
So here are a couple of places to ask for a referral. Number one, when they sign up, that's the best time to ask for a referral. Who else do you know that wants to maybe go through this process with you, or is experiencing same type of challenges or issues as you are or you have? That's the first place to ask for a referral. Second place to ask for a referral is when you deliver a result. Let's say you fix their teeth. Maybe you grow their sales. Maybe you help them hire the right candidate. That moment is the time to ask for a referral, not a week later, not a month later, not 6 months later. Here's why. You want to ask them for the referral when they are experiencing that emotion.
Yeah.
And the feeling. A week later, a month later, they have totally forgotten about you. Now they have to, like, let's say that Chris, we work together and I'm going to fix, say, your follow-up problem, and we're going to bring in, say, 10 appointments, right? A week later or 2 weeks later, you may have forgotten about the emotion. Now, when I ask you for a testimonial or a referral, you're going to have to think about that and go back to that state. And you're making their life and your life a lot harder by waiting, while you could actually, at that moment, if you ask for it, your chances are the highest for getting a referral and or a testimonial.
Wow. No, that's fabulous. I love that what you shared. What would be, you talked about the importance of referrals, which I think are the lifeblood of so many things, like, and oftentimes we know it, but we just don't do it. Our team is not doing it. Like, we're not doing it in sync, where again, we're getting people to think about, again, that experience that they had, and say, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to pass this along and have you do something similar with somebody else that I trust that you could take care of. What would be some myths that you would cite that business owners and salespeople have about follow-ups? I know you touched on a few things, but if you could expand again, because I think a lot of times we assume, and that's not necessarily the case. And these could be the very things that could be holding them back.
For sure. The biggest myth is people say, I don't want to bother my customers. I don't want to bother them. And I don't want to be salesy, or I don't want to be pushy. And so my response is, if you don't want to bother them, then don't bother them. But following up with someone that has expressed an interest or has told you that they are going through pain or they're experiencing an issue is not bothering them. The fact that you don't follow up with them is actually hurting them, because they're still experiencing that pain. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense.
It's my follow-up philosophy is that I'd be hurting you and your business and your team and your family if I don't follow up with you, because that issue still is there and we haven't fixed it. So by following up, you're not bothering them. And then another myth or another holdback is that they say, I don't want to be pushy or salesy. Well, don't be pushy. Don't be salesy. Just be nice. Have a friendly conversation with them, right? Like when we call people up, say, hey, our system shows that you have actually done this, or told us that you were experiencing this issue. Is that correct? Right? And because it's based on their action, I'm not bothering them. They've actually done that, right? And if they're not into it, they'll tell you, I'm not into it. I'm not in the market. All right, no problem. Then if they're not, I'll ask for a referral, right? So, because here's a fact. Maybe the person in front of me is not qualified and they're just not in the market right now, but I never know who they know. So I could ask them the question of, who do you know that may be having issues with their sales or with their marketing or with their systems or with their health or whatnot? And then I could turn an unqualified prospect into a referral or into a qualified prospect.
Wow, I love that. Love that. And what would be, you've shared so much about follow up, the importance of it, and why it's so important to sales. Maybe we could kind of sum this up with the next question. What is your sales and follow up philosophy? I know you shared a lot of things that this could play into your philosophy, but if you'd like to kind of sum that up, what would that be? What is your sales philosophy?
I kind of went over my follow up philosophy, and that is, if I don't follow up with you, I'm hurting you.
Yeah.
Right. My sales philosophy is that I believe in what I do so much so that I have no problem being perceived as salesy or pushy.
Yeah.
Right. Because we are providing value. Right. Now, we don't do a pushy, salesy, sleazy type of approach to sales. But even if you think that I'm salesy, I have no problem with that, because yes, I am trying to sell this to you because it is going to fix a big problem for you and heal a big pain of some sort.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so, I believe in what I do, and it provides, the package and the offer provides so much value that I have no problem selling it at all.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Like I said, you're so confident, and and you've shown how this process works very, very well. And and a lot of times it's again people's own perceptions and what's the word I'm using? Again, they just assume like, well, like people don't want to be bothered, so we don't want to call them. So we know they're not going to pick up the phone, or we're going to get voicemail. No one's going to pick it up, and so on. But it may be, again, that it's that energy, because you're going into it with already self-defeating that this is not going to work. Whereas now you look at this and you say, I know this works because I'm going into it knowing that regardless of if they pick up the phone or not, I'm still going to deliver value, and that so many calls that we're going to make to your customers, we're going to get through, and we're going to finally get them to see, what they're missing here.
For sure.
What can be helping them.
And Chris, sometimes we need to be responsible enough to hold our customers responsible enough to fix their own problems.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I need to be responsible enough to kind of help my customers get themselves out of the way so we can help them, so they can help themselves. And if by the first time they give me a lame excuse, if I just be like, oh yeah, this guy's not interested, then I believe that I'm hurting them. And I don't want to hurt them.
Yeah.
They have a problem, and they need to I need to be consistent. I need to be persistent. I need to be nice. I need to be gentle and confident and the rest of it, and stay with them so until they are ready to make that decision to move forward.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, Chris, when we do our proper follow-up and stay the course with them until they make the decision, later on, they say, Mostafa, thank you for following up with me. Thank you for staying with me and putting up with my nonsense, because we got a chance to actually fix the problem. And if you didn't do that, we would be still experiencing that problem.
Yeah.
So follow-up does make a difference, guys.
Wow. Well, like I said, I think, and a lot of times, like going back, like we talked about people's resistance, their preconceived notions about follow-up bothering people, but would it be safe to say that a lot of times it's the business owner's own internal fear? There maybe that past experience, maybe there was a negative experience with it, maybe they had a lot of people that didn't follow back up with them or hung up the phone in their face, and they just there's this fear. But instead of admitting there's a fear, so what would be some things that and you've shed some insight here and there on this already, but what would be the fastest way you could maybe recommend for them to overcome that fear?
So if you change your approach to follow up and believe in your product and believe in your why, that's the fastest way.
Mhm.
Like using scripts and techniques and tactics and this and that is not going to fix that issue.
Yeah.
When you have a strong why and a strong purpose and intention, if your intention is set right, you don't have nothing to worry about. Like a lot of times I'm on the phones myself. I make phone calls for our customers, representing them. I don't care if 99 people say no. I'm looking for that one person that is in the spot and needs help and is open and willing and able to receive help. 99 people or 1,000 people could say yes. I'm focused on that one customer that I want to help, and that's my intention. Right. And the people that say no, we're going to call them back every 3 or 4 months and stay in touch with them.
Yeah.
Because the fortune is in the follow-up. We all know that. And then that consistent, friendly, and nurturing approach will make a massive difference in your business.
Absolutely. Wow. This is powerful stuff, Mostafa, that you've shared, and you've really shared a wealth of knowledge here. And we're at near the end of the show here, but I want to make sure that the people that you listen to, business influencers, we have a lot of small business owners. We have organizations anywhere from, like you said, from 100,000 all the way up into millions of dollars that listen to business influencers. How can people get in touch with you, to start getting to know you personally and more about what your company does to serve them in this particular area?
For sure. So you could go to fixmyfollowupproblem.com. And there, you're going to land on a page where there's a video about what we do and how we do it. You could book a call to have a conversation with myself. So that's fixmyfollowupproblem.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn, message me, and I'm I love conversations. I
can tell, because you and I have had a great conversation prior to being on the show, and you're very personable, by the way. So I highly encourage everybody listening and those listening later on demand. He's very personal, and you will not regret following up with Mostafa.
Appreciate that. Yeah, so you could find me there, and let's have a call and see what we could do.
Great. Well, Mostafa, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you lead a team of people at your organization, and to share your time with us today was quite beneficial. And again, we thank you so much for being here. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here with business influencers. And again, we promise to bring in their subject matter experts like Mostafa in to share their words of wisdom and insights, again, putting you first and how we can move your business and personal success to the next level. That's what we're committed to. So again, any questions, reach out to Mostafa. If you have any questions that you would like to hear from about what you'd like to see on future shows, please contact us at chris@christophersalem.com. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.